Hello and welcome to Talking Wrestling with Palm Water Dave. I am your host, Palm Water Dave. Join with me, as always, is the First Lady of the Sid Vicious Fan Club, Miss Amy Vaughn.
How's it going?
Amy,
Am I
see that
muted?
you're all beat it up and
That's right. You know how you get these, right?
Yeah.
You bought them. That's how I got mine.
Well, we're trying to get more subscribers.
That's not the answer we were going to get. We thought we were going to get.
Yeah, I know.
This is y'all's lucky night. All right, we're gonna get more subscribers and kicked off all on the same night.
That's right. And me divorced. And let's not forget that one.
Joining us tonight, we have a very special guest. He's been in the wrestling business for over a quarter of a century. NWA Wildside, and currently you can catch him and his tag team partner David Young. They are a bad company, and they are the first ever primetime tag team champions. Welcome to the show, Mr. Adam Jacobs.
Yeah,
I have been super excited as whenever she invited me on. I could not wait to do this. When I met y'all at the Top Guy thing, you can tell like when you meet genuine people. And I was excited when she reached out to me to do this.
We're glad you're here. Thank you.
I got to manage Adam at Top Guy Tussle.
Oh, yeah.
So automatically became a favorite. How can he not, right? And you know what, Adam, I know this is so stupid, but I've told everybody, I'm like, you know what? He really, yes, I was Queen Amy for the night, but I said he took really good, like he was right there. He wanted to make sure I didn't get hurt. Like he was very much, just making sure I was okay. And I'm sitting there like, I'm just this, goofy fan living a dream, and he's like got to wrestle, but he's worried about, just making sure I'm okay. And so that really stuck with me. So you're a genuine person too. And I'm really excited to have you on here with us.
Oh, thanks. And how awesome was that Top Guy Tussle? Well, that was like just a great experience altogether.
I know. And you got to go, you were backstage and you got the opportunity to talk to Eric Bischoff or Jeff Jarrett or David Crockett and, Eric Bischoff. Did I already say him? I probably did.
Well, for those that don't know what we're talking about is every year Ad Free Shows has their top tier Ad Free Shows, top tier, they're called the Top Guys. And we have what we call Top Guy Weekend. And this past year, everybody came to Huntsville, Alabama, and we went to the home of Rocket City Wrestling. And they assembled a panel of bookers. We had David Crockett, Ricky Morton, Kevin Sullivan, Eric Bischoff, Jeff Jarrett.
And we got to put.
I feel like I'm forgetting one. I mean, it was a who's who.
It was those five.
And they took everybody, the crowd pretty much got to participate in the booking meeting, put a card together. Amy got to be a manager. Our good friend Terry Weaver, who's in the chat tonight, thanks our friends for joining us live, our studio audience. T-Weave got to be a referee. Myself, along with Brandon Toll, we coached up the referees. Everybody broke off and they learned their roles, and it was almost like, I don't want to say fantasy camp, but it kind of was. And
totally fantasy camp.
But they booked the card. The audience pretty much booked the card with the booking committee from top to bottom. And they put on a great card. And Adam Jacobs was part of this.
Yeah, and it was cool for us too, because we got to pick the brain of all those guys. Like the one guy that I was like, I've got to get a picture with was David Crockett. I was like, because I used to, of course, I'm sure he hears this all the time, that I used to watch you every Saturday morning, and to be able to meet him and him be just a super, because they always say you don't want to meet your heroes, right. And there's been a few that I've met that I'm like, I wish I would have not been this, but David Crockett was awesome. It was just a great experience, and Conrad's was a great guy. Overall, just a great weekend.
I had a blast. I got to referee a match with Ricky Morton.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you couldn't and I had Jeff Jarrett yelling at me backstage. It was pretty cool.
It was. If we did that every time, in the past we've done things almost like a convention, like butted up against a pay-per-view, premium live event, whatever you want to call it. But I'm telling you, I would do what we did last time, where we got to get in the ring and we got to, we got to get pointers from Tom Pritchard. I think you weren't there that day, but the day before.
Yeah, Dr. Tom showed him how to do the basics.
Yeah. How awesome is that?
Yeah. So, and I love Dr. Tom. He's sweet. I've got to go to his academy, and just like I said, it was like a dream come true. So anyway, well, enough about it. That was, like I said,
now that we've done a great commercial for ad-free shows.
Yeah, really. It's great. I'm telling you.
There you go, Conrad. There you go.
That's right.
Yeah, I can't do enough for that guy. He's done more for me than his kindness over and over again, and I'll never live long enough to repay it all. So, but let's talk about you, Adam.
Yes.
In your introduction, I mentioned Wildside, and is that where you actually got your start? Was Wildside?
No, so I started at a company that was about 20 minutes from my house where I grew up. It was called TWA. It was in Rossville. And from there, I did that for 3 or 4 years. And then I met a guy named Skinny Kenny Arden, Frenchie Riviera. They were all working for Burt Prentice in Nashville at the Nashville Fairgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were like, they talked to Burt. And so they were like, to bring you up. And at that time, they were planning on teaming me with Air Paris, who tagged with AJ in WCW. So I went to Nashville and started doing those shows. And it was crazy. I went from working shows in front of 75 people to my first night at the fairgrounds was like 2,000 people.
Uh-huh.
And it was like overnight. And I was like, I don't belong here. Like, what am I doing here? And, the longer you stay and you get your feet wet. And then from there, I would do Nashville one weekend. And then when Burt couldn't use me, that's when I would work for Bill Behrens in Cornelia for NWA Wildside. And I pretty much stayed there. That was pretty much my home. We would go to Nashville some, but most of the time, NWA Wildside is where I kind of got my big break was there.
So, because on your Facebook page not too long ago, you posted like your first promo pic to a current one. And when I asked you about it, you're like, I legit started training in high school. And that's like, I had just graduated from high school. So did you always want to be into wrestling, or how did that exactly happen that you even started training?
So I always loved it. My favorite all-time wrestler is Beautiful Bobby Eaton. My favorite.
Oh, yeah.
And I liked Stan Lane, but Bobby Eaton was his punch, his neck breaker, of course, the Alabama Jam. That was, I did all those moves. So me and a friend of mine were in high school. His name was Toy Dotson. We trained together, and we didn't have any money because we were in high school. So they told us that if you come and clean the buildings, then we'll train you the next day.
Oh, cool.
So we did that all throughout high school. And then our very first match was the day after we graduated high school. Our very first match. And how we kind of got in it is his uncle knew the booker for the show, the shot caller. And that's how we got started.
Awesome.
That's incredible.
So are you from Alabama? You were saying some cities, and I'm not really for sure.
He said Chickamauga, Georgia, and the reason I know Chickamauga, Georgia is Corey Ryan Forster.
Okay.
So I was born in Scottsboro, Alabama.
Okay.
Not far from like the Huntsville area.
Okay.
And when I was young, and so I grew up in Chickamauga. That's
okay.
Yeah, so all my family still live in the Scottsboro area now.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
When you were working for Burt Prentice, was that USA Wrestling?
Yeah, it was USA Wrestling. He was bringing in, like top guys. I mean, that was the show to be on was the Nashville Fairgrounds. Well, you know, all the stars that came through the fairgrounds.
Oh yeah.
That was a historic place to begin with. But yeah, and Burt Prentice is actually who got me at that time. He had a working relationship with WCW. So he was bringing in some guys for like dark matches for like Thunder and Nitro and Worldwide. So I had the opportunity to do a bunch of those for WCW when I was like 21, 22.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
It's not a bad group to be in with.
No, no. So it was like a lot of us that went. It was like me, Air Paris, David Young, of course AJ Styles was always with us. But yeah, just overall great group of guys, and I got to thank Bert a lot for getting me on those.
So you and David have known each other for a long time. That's your tag team partner, right?
So David is one of my longest friends, and he had been for a little while when I started.
Oh, okay.
And I was intimidated by him the very first time I met him, just because he was, in my eyes, he was like a huge star, and he was so good. He was so good, and then to meet him, and then he, you know, you have acquaintances in the business, but you probably only have about five friends that are like your ride or die friends, and David's in that top 5. So yeah, it's awesome to be able to still work.
Cool.
Yeah.
I had the guys that got me into the business, Mike Page and Joey Carmen. They used to travel with a guy named Samir, and they used to travel and they'd work Wildside.
Well, now, are they from Texas?
They're from Texas.
Okay. Yeah, they were. I remember
they were the Overboys. Hollow Mass. Samir and Corman were Hollow Mass for a while, and then they were the 3 of them would travel as the Overboys.
Yeah, they came in and out. They weren't there very often, but I remember they would bring them in. Some of the Texas, some of the guys would come in with like Rudy Boy Gonzalez would bring some of them in, I think.
Right. But it was I'd always heard about Wildside being, I mean, because in the early days of the internet, you were getting as much, and I was always an NWA guy, so there was somebody still out there with the NWA banner. And then when TNA finally came along and brought in the NWA title, it's just, that's what I grew up with. So the NWA is still near and dear to my heart.
Yeah. So Wildside was the first place I went that actually, all the guys, they worked for the show. They didn't work for their match. They worked for the overall, you know, if you were the first match, you didn't go out and do everything that the main event was going to do. You know, you worked for the show, not the match. And it was just it almost became a job because a lot of guys got jobs from Wildside, because after Burt lost his deal with WCW, Bill Behrens picked it up. So he was like Terry Taylor was coming in looking at guys. JJ Dillon came in a couple of times. So there was always that opportunity of like you wanted to be the match of the night, basically, because AJ and Air Paris got signed, you know, from working each other at Wildside.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they were there, I guess, 2000, 2001, right towards the end.
WCW, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So we had Mark Dodd on, and we'd heard about all the things that were going primetime wrestling. He spoke real highly of you and David Young, because y'all, I guess y'all are the veterans.
Mm-hmm.
And they just had a tag team tournament.
Yeah.
So y'all are the first ever primetime tag team champions.
Yeah. Shout out to Mark Dodd. He's a I like to pick on him. We do your interview. It's just hilarious. But yeah, so primetime started up, and there's some guys there that you might remember from the old NWA days. Tony Zane, he's there. He did some stuff. He was like working the territory days as an enhancement guy, and then he did some stuff as the Masked Superstar. Him, Todd Zane, his brother, they're there. Yeah, primetime's really taken off. All the houses that we're drawing are, you know, consistent. from month to month. It's a great group of guys. There's no egos there. Everybody's there to put on a good show. So being able to be the first primetime tag team champions is pretty cool, and to be able to do it with David. I can't believe I'm talking so highly of him. He's gonna think I'm mad at him because I'm being nice.
Well, speaking of nice, I think you're really nice, but you're kind of a heel with Bad Company. That's your tag team group.
Yeah, and not very often do I get to be a heel. The majority of the time when I go somewhere, I'm being able to be a heel, and which I like it because you, as a heel, you can lead the match. So being able to lead the match and put them in spots they need to be in,
Sure.
It's a lot more fun that way.
Definitely. I heard a veteran named Arn Anderson. He's mentioned that before about how fun it is to be a heel because you get away with things. You get to, you really get to turn it up a little bit. But I was a little surprised when I saw that.
Yeah.
I thought I taught you better. My one time managing, but you know what? We were heels.
Yeah, I know you were.
I remember somebody, I don't remember who it was. They threw out, and I held him, and I was like, "Hit him, Amy!" So,
yeah, Ray Fury. It was a match with Ray Fury.
Yeah, exactly.
And she hit him, and she choked him, and
I didn't do nothing. On water, you didn't see nothing. You don't know nothing.
I was very liberal with you that night.
Were you?
I was fast and loose with the rules.
Well, I'm telling you,
because I'm kind of a heel too.
Yeah, I was going to say, listening to Angel Camacho and some of them other ones, you're a terrible ref, is what they're telling me, Dave.
And Dave, I didn't realize that I was actually at Flair's last match, and I didn't realize that you were the ref. I had no idea until I was looking at some pictures. Like, you were the ref for Flair's last match. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's one of those things that I'll never be able to repay Conrad Thompson back for.
Yeah, it was cool.
He said when he had the idea to do it that he knew that somewhere or another he was going to get me in that match.
Yeah,
because he knows that Ric Flair's my all-time favorite. So
yeah.
Did you just go to the match? Did you just go to Ric Flair's last match, or did you do any of the other events that were going on that weekend?
No, I didn't do anything. A friend of mine that I grew up with, he was a big NWA fan, and he I buy the ticket. Will you drive? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I get there, and I think I had posted something on Facebook, and after the show, and Wolfie D was like, I had no idea you were here. If I knew you were here, you would have come, hung out, and seen everybody. But no, we just hung out and enjoyed the show. Overall, it was a great show.
If you didn't make it to the back, you're about the only person in the professional wrestling business that didn't make it to the back.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
It was crazy back there. It was the craziest backstage area I've ever been involved with.
Hey, Coach Keith.
But and I got to work at the Nashville Fairgrounds. Well, not your Nashville Fairgrounds. I got the revamped version, but
okay.
But I was able to work GCW and Black Label Pro that weekend.
Oh, okay.
But like I said, I know it wasn't the Asylum or the Nashville Fairgrounds from back in the day. But
yeah, well, when you did the fairgrounds before it was the Asylum, and then I had a couple of dark matches for TNA at the Asylum, it looked completely different. I mean, like, how they had done everything. It was crazy. So
after you wrapped up with Wildside and Burt Prentice, where'd you go next after that?
So around that time when I had done a couple of matches for Ring of Honor, it was actually a three-way for the very first. It was called, the name of the show was Crowning of a Champion, and I'm thinking Doug Williams or Spanky. Well, I can't remember who won the match, but I was in a three-way with me, David Young, and AJ. And at that time, AJ had already won the TNAX title, and so he defended that against me and David on that Ring of Honor show. So I did that show, and then took a little bit of time off, kind of done the family thing, and recently I had neck surgery
Oh.
about 5 years ago. My C4 and C5, I believe, was like completely on top of each other. So I went and put titanium in, and now at that time I was just taking time off because my son was small and just kind of wanted to hang out with him. And now he's fixing to be 20, so I've kind of had a resurgence now, and I feel better now than I did when I was in my early 30s. So yeah, so he goes to all the shows with me now, and uh, thinking about training. So we'll see how that first bump goes, and then that's going to tell the tale on how he does. But that's in the works.
Did he do high
Cool.
school sports? And
He ran track in high school. Um, so he ran track, and then he played a little bit of basketball. But track was his sport.
okay,
But first and foremost, he's got to continue his education. He's got to have something. I'm all about chasing your dreams. I'm the last person to say don't chase your dreams, but you've got to have a backup. Luckily for me, it all worked out. I didn't have a backup plan, but luckily, uh, life life cannot be any better right now for me. So overall, I'm super super content and happy with my life. But I want him to definitely get his education before he jumps in the ring.
There was a veteran, again, Arn Anderson, said to Brock about making sure he got his education before he got into the ring. Do you want to be like Ricky and Kerry Morton? Like, do you want to are you excited about the opportunity of we could tag together, we could do shows together? Are you thinking that, but not trying to get too excited?
Yeah, no, I am. And it's crazy seeing Ricky and Carrie together. I just hope that Ricky moves better than me now, and Ricky's mid-60s. So,
it's
yeah,
amazing.
it is. It's crazy, and he's just as over now as he. It was funny. I was talking to him one time, and he was just like, you little things that you do, just little things, and he's like, the way you move the way you move your head, the way you point out, the way you reach out for help, in a spot, these little things like that guys don't do anymore, and it's so having him in the NWA and being able to coach guys, I cannot see how that's not super beneficial for their product.
I
Have you
don't
always
see
been
how
Adam
any
Jacob?
major promotion.
Oh,
I don't see how any major promotion doesn't utilize the legends that are out there
Yeah,
to teach everybody how to slow down and make it all mean something.
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, there's so many guys that are so good that still have gas in the tank that can still go. And it's some of the stuff you hear online is so and so was at AEW, and so was here, and not one time did anybody ask advice. Of course that's hearsay, and you hear things, but when you've got guys like Arn Anderson and Dean Malenko and Billy Gunn, why are you not the best I can say is leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you, and I highly doubt they're gonna
Yeah,
do it. So, get under the learning tree, learn a little bit.
you can learn. It doesn't matter how. I mean, I'm a referee. I'm in my 19th year, and I'm still learning.
Yeah,
I'm still learning.
yeah, every day. I learn something new every time. The day that you quit learning is when you've pretty much just gave up, because you're
Yes,
not
sir.
you're not seeking knowledge from anybody.
But you mentioned you're 46 and that you feel as good as you ever have. It seems like that the sweet spot for for wrestlers now are in their 40s.
Yeah, it
mhm.
a lot of the guys they're just hitting their like just guys, for example, Randy Orton, he's been great since he was early 20s, but
Mhm.
guys like him and AJ, they're in their mid 40s, and they're still going strong and moving better than guys in their 20s, and they do the moves, and they put them in the right spots. They're not
Right.
reckless.
Well,
Do
I
you
mean, I would argue Edge and Christian are doing their best stuff right now.
Oh yeah, in my opinion, right now, Edge is. I mean, Christian is probably the best heel on TV right now. More, I mean, for sure, AEW.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree with you.
Definitely. Do you think that, I mean, this is just a thought, but do you think that has anything to do with the schedule? I mean, bodies are, I mean, when you're working, like you have heard veterans speak of that, of just, when you're having to work 300 days, every night, twice on Sunday, to where now, or at least, as time has gone on, the schedule is not as rough, and they're not as rough on their bodies. They can still go until their 40s.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon, famously wanted Randy Savage on the commentary. He didn't think he thought he was too old to wrestle. And he wasn't even remotely close to half of the WWE roster. You know what I mean? Age-wise, if you think about some of the ages, I mean, Gunther's like 37. I mean, they're not, I mean,
Oscar's 40.
yeah. And she's amazing. And why would you stop? I mean,
it's just a different. I don't know. What do you think, Adam? Because she says that the schedule's off, but I've also heard people say that you have a tendency to get injured more when you don't do it as often.
And that's for me like a prime example. When I used to do it, when I worked for Burt Prentice, he was pretty busy, so we would work 3 or 4 nights a week, and I can tell you when I would work 4 nights a week, then I would work 1, because your body gets used to the trauma, pretty much. So the next day you're bumping, the next day you're bumping. When you're only doing it once a month or every couple of weeks, your body has already forgot. It's already forgot that feeling. So you get that feeling all over again. And I know AEW's schedule isn't as, I don't think they even do house shows at all. I think WWE does house shows, but I don't think AEW does any house shows. So those guys are really not working a whole lot.
Right.
Really.
Well, go ahead, Amy. I lost my train of thought. I had a great follow-up and lost it.
Well, now I'm trying to think of a good follow-up. You've kind of got me off guard too. Let me think here. Oh, what I was asking earlier is, have you always gone by Adam Jacobs? Have you ever had to, change your name or do something different?
No, it's always been Adam Jacobs, and it's going to sound egotistical, but a lot of guys they use different names.
Yeah.
And I wanted everybody to know me. I wanted everybody to know me. So when I'm heel, I haven't really said it at primetime that much because I'm a part of a tag team. But when I was at Wildside, I was all that Adam Jacobs just because it rhymed. So when I'm heel, I'll throw that in there. Yeah. But when I'm a baby face, no, I just go as Adam Jacobs.
Okay. Did you think of your question, Pawn?
No. And I was so excited. I'm having a senior moment like you wouldn't believe.
No, I believe it. No. I mean, you are 10 years older than me, so.
Wow. Really?
Aren't you? How old are you?
I'm fixing to be 58.
Yeah, you will. You are. You're 10 years older than me. I'm fixing to be 48. So there you go.
So
You'll always be older.
We're all three right around that little corner together.
Yes. And Dave will tell you, I grew up, well, Dave is WCCW until, I mean, he's a do or die WCCW. Texas. I grew up watching Memphis because I'm from Kentucky. So I grew up watching Memphis and then Georgia and, whatever came on TBS kind of thing. So we very much enjoy our Southern wrestling. So, we are very familiar with Beautiful Bobby and, just the absolute perfection of a wrestler that he really was, and probably doesn't really get as much credit.
When people ask me my favorite version of the Midnight Express, I always say the one that Bobby was in, because it didn't make me any difference who the other two were.
No, and you meet a lot of guys in the business, but very, very rarely is there somebody that nobody ever has a bad word to say about. Him and Brad Armstrong were two guys that's just at the top of my head that I've never heard a bad word. guys. And to be able to meet him was just one of the highlights.
Well,
And
tell us
actually,
about that. How'd you get to do that?
yeah, so I got to work him actually. It was
Oh wow.
This guy was just booking some shows, and he said, "I've got Bobby Eaton coming in. You'd be interested in working him." And I think it was maybe 2005, 2006, something like that. So Bobby could still go. You know, at that time he was
Definitely.
doing pretty good. And I was like, "Yeah."
Uh-oh.
Um,
There he is.
We lost you for a second, Adam.
am I here now?
You're
Yes.
here.
Okay. Um, so I get to the building, and I'll never forget. Bobby is eating ribs in the back, and they look so good. And I told him, I was like, "God, those smell so good." And he's like, "Yeah, they're really good." The next show, he brought me some ribs, and I'm like, "That? How awesome is that?" So I wrestled him, and I told him, I was like, "I understand if you don't want to do it." I said, "But I would love to take the Alabama Jam if you would like to." He goes, "How about you beat me with it?" So I beat him with the Alabama Jam. Like that, how awesome of a guy. And he didn't have to do that, at
No.
all.
Oh,
Yeah, just
no.
It's not. I've seen that with Robert Gibson,
mhm.
where he didn't want to. He wanted to put over the talent that's on that show, because I'm only here tonight. You're here all the time.
Mhm.
Yeah. He's not coming back. So, yep, make that. It's just going to help the guy and help the promotion. So, and that's the mindset you've got to have. Don't worry about, uh, making yourself. They're going to look good regardless.
Mhm.
Bobby's going to look good regardless. So, yeah, make the guy in town.
Yeah. How was that for you? You came in out of high school. You were a wrestling fan, and as you started coming up, you would cross paths with legends.
Mhm.
I consider legends like when I had my opportunity to work with Ricky Morton.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. I mean, we're all professional. We got a lot of job to do. But what I'm saying is it kind of hard to control? Is it kind of hard to control the butterflies or the
Were you
excitement?
excited? Is what he wants to know.
I'm trying to find a way to
So in
because you don't
19
want to act like a mark around them, but
so in 1996, it was still kind of somewhat of a closed business. Like kayfabe was still a little bit alive, you know.
Mhm.
So that was one of my biggest regrets was when I started. You didn't like today. You've got social media. You're taking pictures with everybody. At that time, not that it was frowned upon, but you didn't want to look like you were starstruck. You wanted to. Well, I belong here. I belong with the.
Mhm.
So
right.
that was
Mhm.
the regrets that I have is I didn't take more pictures, with guys. But yeah, it's hard not to get excited when you see Ricky Morton pulling his bag into the same locker room and that you've been watching since you were a kid. But then you learn that I'm in the same business as them. I'm trying to make a dollar just like they are, and
Mhm.
I deserve to be here too. So you've
Right.
got to kind of turn that off a little bit, but inside you're freaking out, but you can't really show it.
Terry Weaver said his Meemaw still believed in 96. But yeah, I came to this day, I still have hard time getting the picture.
Mhm.
After it's been kind of established that maybe now, hey y'all, forget all that, get the picture.
Yeah.
And I mean, I try to get the pictures not just with the legends that come through. I try to get the pictures with the people that I respect, that I work with a lot.
Yeah.
The promotion I work for, we've got Barrett Brown, we got Tim Storm, we got Cassidy Riley recently retired, Chase Stevens comes through, like I said, Ray Fury, the Nightmare Jeremiah, Angel Camacho, other referees that I've heard of that I get to work with, James Beard.
Yeah.
But I always still feel very awkward in the back saying,
Mhm.
"Hey, can we grab a quick picture?"
Yeah.
I'm hoping, and Jack Dane started beating the drum for everybody to do it.
Mhm.
Everybody wants to do it, but you just didn't want to have that. Oh, they're looking at me. They're going to make fun of me. It's different now. It's a different culture. Now it's just the whole business has completely changed since '96. That's been a
Right.
long time. And not saying that it's changed for the worse. You've got to evolve, and you've got to change. With the business. But like one of the things that I can tell a difference is in locker rooms since I've been back is one of the very first thing before you even put your bag down, you shook everybody's hand in the
Mm-hmm.
locker. Um, it's not so much like that now. Not that it's a negative thing, but it's just different.
Mm-hmm.
And little things that you see that when you get into the ring, you wipe your feet off before you get in the ring. You don't see that a whole lot now. It's just a different time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny that Cassidy. I worked with Cassidy a bunch in Nashville, and I keep in touch with Cass now. We'll message on Facebook some. Cassidy's a great guy.
He is a great guy. And he's pursuing acting now.
Yeah,
And he's gotten to he's made a cut. He's an Iron Claw, and he's got another movie. So coming. So
He didn't tell us. We had to wait until
Yeah.
he was
I
filming
just saw
at the
Cassidy.
time.
I just saw Cassidy in West Monroe. Not this past weekend, the weekend before.
okay. Yeah.
He came to the show.
He's a
Dave
great.
worked for BIW, Bayou Independent Wrestling,
Okay.
and you do Mississippi,
I'm doing
Louisiana.
AWA, Alabama Wrestling
Yeah, he did
Association,
AWA.
and I do Legacy for Steve Starr and Gil Culkin.
Mhm.
So, and what I mean,
If you
I'm
get around,
I'm available for bookings. I'm going to do Lost Art of Wrestling, March 8th. But
Have you done anything with Wildcat Sports, Dave?
I have not, and I'm friends with Luke. It's crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've been friends with Luke for 10, 12 years, and
Are you
how I
really?
haven't ever made it down there to work for him.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
are you really friends, Dave? Do you think you're really friends?
Well, he treats me like his friend every time he sees me.
I met him at Wildside too, and I don't think he's a whole lot involved in the day-to-day operations of Wildcat now, but I like seeing good things happen to good people, and Luke and Cassidy are two good guys that have been, super nice to me, over the years.
Yeah, I think the world of Luke. One night we sat in the lobby of the hotel in Charlotte, North Carolina. It was Luke, Hurricane, JJ Dillon, myself, and one other guy. And we sat down there and we just we listened to JJ still tell stories till 4:00 in the morning. I mean, to the point where we didn't have any more wrestling to hear about. And he was telling us how to get hot French fries at McDonald's.
I figure wasn't he a corrections officer too, JJ Dillon?
Yeah, he worked for prison.
I feel like that would be some story. That would be another interesting topic for him to give.
But yeah, it's just anytime you have one of those old guys that just want to sit there and talk, you just shut your mouth and listen.
Heck yeah.
Funny story about Steph, and we'll tell it because she's not here. We were all at the bar, and she was talking to JJ. Well, JJ was talking to her at the bar, but my wife probably didn't ask him hardly anything about wrestling, but she mentioned his Hall of Fame rings, and he's got the WWE one, but he also had the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, and that's the one he's most proud of. Anyway, she probably sat over and talked to JJ for an hour, and Conrad goes, "Hey, Palmwater, is JJ going to take your wife home?" And I said, "Well, you might think he is, but he's going to be in for a big surprise." Anyway, she comes over, she goes, "I got JJ's number." And I went, "Did you give JJ your number?" She goes, "I did." And I said, "No, JJ got your number." But anyway.
Look at Stephanie. What? I had no idea.
She got his number and his email, but I mean, that's how my wife is. She doesn't know a stranger, and she probably talked to him about 100 different things that he never gets to talk about. So
grandkids and things
I'm
like
sure.
that. I mean,
I'm sure.
that's fun.
Anyway,
Did you see what Terry wrote?
Where'd you say she is tonight? She's at JJ's. She said it's better than an autograph. She's going to kill us when she listens to this back.
Yeah. She's going to kill
I remember
you.
what I was going to
had
ask
nothing
you
to do
about.
with it.
I remember what I was going to ask you about when I lost my memory. You had mentioned that you were working several times a week for Burt Prentice. Did he just have like a territory that he did several shows in, or would he work like high school fundraisers during the week? Or because back in the day, everybody used to have their main shows, but they'd travel, and it was always for the JCs or for the high school booster club. But everybody would use wrestling as a fundraiser during the week.
Yeah, the fairgrounds was his main. That was Saturday. But he was on like Hawkinsville, Kentucky, was on like Thursday night, and then we would Lebanon, Tennessee on Friday, and just kind of work our way back around to Nashville. But yeah, he did a lot of spot shows, and then a lot of like high school shows as far as helping the schools out. But yeah, at that time, Burt was drawing great houses, everywhere he went. Kind of leading.
So he had his towns that he was using.
Yeah, and I think, and after I left when I was working for Bill Barron's in Atlanta, he picked up like some Illinois, so he was even busier then. Going around that whole little loop.
Oh wow,
that's pretty cool.
I think so. So what is new? I mean, what's coming up for primetime wrestling?
So the next show is March the 2nd in Rome. So we were doing some show. The majority of the shows for primetime is in Rome, Georgia, at the Coosa Valley Fairgrounds. That'll be March the 2nd. That's the next show. And then we're going to start doing a little more stuff in Gadsden, Alabama. That's where we were at this past Saturday. So right now, those are the two main towns that we're using as Rome and Gadsden. So March the 2nd is going to be another good card. Cyrus, the Destroyer, he's in All Japan. He's back home for a little while till he goes back over there. So he's there now. He won the belt from Superstar Saturday night, and I think they're having a rematch on March the 2nd. Yeah, me and David or I think we're tagging again on the 2nd. I'm not 100% sure on who we're working on that. Either way, we're going to win. So really matter.
Are you working teams that were in the tournament and that you already defeated one time, so you're gonna probably defeat them again?
Yeah, I'm not worried about that, Amy.
I mean, truth be told, they probably didn't have any competition to win the championship.
I saw the tournament. I saw the brackets. Definitely not.
And that's one thing about that fake news Mark Dodd. Every time he says that there's some controversy, I'm like, I don't know what Mark's seeing. I haven't seen it.
So how many titles? So were all the titles, like first time winners, or was they already some established, but the tag teams titles were, first?
This is brand new.
Am I making myself clear?
No, it's a brand new company. So we've got heavyweight champion is Superstar,
Right.
and the very first tag team champions are me and David. So yeah, brand new company. The first belts that were ever made for the company were there. I think Superstar had won his belt a couple of months before we got the tag belts in.
He beat Mr. Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm saying Superstar. There's another guy on there called the Superstar. Mr. Atlanta is the heavyweight champion. That's who Cyrus.
I knew that's.
Yeah,
I think Mark told us that, didn't he?
Yes,
I thought so. And that veteran Arn Anderson is from Rome, Georgia, and so. Oh, I got another question. So
you sure working Arn in a lot tonight, Amy.
No, the topic is there. He said Rome, Georgia. What? I mean, come on now. What other wrestler is from Rome, Georgia, except for the veteran Arn Anderson?
Okay.
Mark told us when he was on here. I mean, we had a 25-minute conversation about pickleball because Mark was telling us about how he played. And I'd never even, I mean, I'd heard of it. Dave, had you heard of it?
I'd only heard of it.
I only heard of it. I honestly thought it was something that was created during COVID. But Mark was telling us that, no, this is back from the 1960s. I wanted to know, has he ever wrangled you to play pickleball?
No, he hasn't, but that might be a interesting time with Mark. That could possibly be pretty fun. I need to ask him about that.
Yeah, he was like a pro tennis player, right? Isn't that what he told us?
There was some reasons going on in the back about how good he was at these sports. So
yeah,
I might have to check that out.
You do. He was a pro tennis player, and he's like, I don't know if you can go pro with pickleball, but he seems really into it. He promised that he would teach me and Dave, and that we would be really good. Like after 30 minutes, like we would be down pat with it. So we did. We spent like 25 minutes
talking about pickleball.
Before we even got into wrestling at all, because it was like we had no idea.
Is Scott Hudson still y'all's commissioner?
Scott comes in every so often. Scott comes in some. Bagwell had come in some, but yeah, Scott. I think Scott is still the commissioner. Yeah.
Yeah,
he's a great guy too.
That's how we ended up talking to Mark Dodd, because the other commissioner had got fired.
Sean.
Yeah.
Then Sean got fired. Sean Ambrose got fired.
And that's who he had asked to come on.
He's like, hey, y'all, I got fired. We're going to send you Mark Dodd.
Y'all guys got stuck with Mark.
Oh, well, like I said, we learned a lot about pickleball that day. But that's really exciting that they're, like you said, they are. I saw he had posted, like they have like 3,000 subscribers to Facebook or whatever. I mean, that's awesome for, like you said, a brand new wrestling promotion that, I think he said it's only a couple years. Is it a couple years old? That's amazing. That's wonderful. I think that just goes to show the appetite for wrestling that's out there. I mean,
be a fan. I think the sport's healthier than it's been in a long, long time.
Definitely.
And that's excluding what you see on television. I mean, television's strong, but I think independent wrestling is probably, not only is it stronger, there's a better quality. Because used to, you had one or two in an area, and then tax time came, and then you had tax refund championship wrestling would show up.
Yep.
Kill anything good that had gone on with your better promotions. But there's so many good alternatives to what you get on television. And we constantly tell everybody, support independent wrestling.
Well, that's what our podcast is all about, independent wrestling, because there is so much great things. I'm sorry, Adam, I keep cutting you off. Sorry.
I mean, there's some really good independent shows. And of course, y'all probably seen, there's some really bad independent shows too. But primetime wrestling is up there, in the state of Georgia, and there's some competition. Georgia's got quite a few good shows, but competition, that's healthy. You want competition. You want your show to be the best. If you promote it and you put on the best show, the fans can choose. They're going to choose the best show. So don't worry about the other shows. Don't worry about what they're doing. You focus on your show and putting out the best product that you can. And if you promote the towns, and you're doing the right things, they'll come.
Well, we had some friends that were at the show in Gadsden, and they spoke very, very highly of it.
Oh yeah, and that was the first show we had done there. I think they run some other shows in that building. I think it's Spartan Wrestling, they welcomed us to that building, and that's just a great setup, top notch show there, great lighting. Little things like lighting and how the ring looks. Little things like that. You pay your money. You don't want to go in there and see a ring that's barely put together. So little things like that. It's got to be cosmetically.
You got 2 strikes against you before you ever come through the curtain at that point.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to have a product that people want to see. You know, you don't want to go a ring that's got duct tape all over it, and even though the guys in the ring may be great, but you're going to focus. It's going to look like a smaller promotion. You got to put money into it, you know. So
100%. Did you have the opportunity to see the movie Iron Claw?
yeah, man, the same guy that I went and seen the Flair's last match.
Okay.
Yeah, we went and saw Iron Claw together, and that's what made me think about Cassidy. Is I think he was in the movie a little bit more, but they cut a lot of his stuff out in editing. But
I'm hoping that they'll put some of that cut stuff back in for the Blu-ray.
Yeah. Hopefully.
The reason I mentioned it, that opening of the show, when they were showing Fritz, and they had that ring, and only the ring was lit. To me, that's how wrestling needs to be presented.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I mentioned it. It's just that if nothing else hit me from that movie, because I lived through all that, so I really wasn't all that excited to hear that story again.
Yeah,
because I grew up with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when I saw that ring, the way that it was lit up, and we kind of did that at Flair's last match a little bit. I'm sorry, I'm a professional podcaster right here. To me, lighting that ring up and darkening that crowd up, I think that is truly a lost art. Because I think that it would just be, I'd like to see more promotions do it.
You know, and I remember when I was a kid, when you would watch the shows on TV, you know, it was just like right on the ring, and you could see all the cigarette smoke just going up in the lights. And it's going to sound crazy, but it looks so cool to me. Little things like that. It's a different time. Just a different time.
Oh yeah, you go back and watch old wrestling from the 80s that are in an arena. You can see with cigarette hanging out of their mouth.
Yeah, and all the grandma and grandpas on the front row. I mean, that's just, you know.
Oh, when I left the sportatorium, I reeked. I reeked from it.
That tells you the difference in the demographic now. You know, like, you know, back then you had the grandmas and, you know, the grandpas. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but very rarely when you look in the crowd do you see a grandmother with her cane booing the bad guy.
Right.
Very, very rare. You know, you still see some in some independent shows that I do. But as far as like, you know, WWE or AEW, correct me if I'm wrong, but I very rarely do you see that demographic of that type.
We got a few at Bayou, and she was very pissed off the other night and actually threw a drink on one of the wrestlers.
Oh, wow.
And he got a bottle of water and threw it back on her. She's still trying to kill him. I legitimately told security when he came back out, watch his back, because I'm not sure his son's not going to try to kill him.
Yeah.
I mean, the heat was completely out of control.
And this is 2000. Yeah. This is
2020. The promoter over there saying, would you please leave her alone?
Yeah. It's 2024 and you've got heat like that.
Yeah.
Kayfabe's dead to some people. You know, some people want to believe it. You know, it's great.
But when it's going and people can suspend their disbelief and they can buy in completely like that and be emotional, that's when wrestling's its best.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, look at the emotion for Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns and The Rock. I mean, that's just
all of a sudden
crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
because they're telling a story. That's like life. You know, they're telling a story. You know what's going to happen, but it's like you don't want to believe it.
But for that second, you saw I mean, that's what I was talking about. You saw the Rock get pissed off and slap Cody, and you're like, oh, I didn't. And for that split second, you know, like you want to buy. I mean, when that happens, everybody loses their mind, and it's the best thing in the world.
Yeah. There's nothing like professional wrestling.
I've loved it for over 40. Well, I've loved it since I was a baby.
Yeah.
But, and I think my poor wife, thankfully she loves it because I've been dragging her all over the South here lately.
Well, I recently got engaged, and my fiance, she had no idea when she met me that this was going to be a part of her life, and she's kind of like, what have you got me into? She knows nothing about it at all. She's came to one or two shows, but she doesn't like, she doesn't know a lot about the business.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm getting beat up, she's not 100% sure that I'm not really hurt, and she knows that this morning she's going to have to take care of me. So a lot of times she just wants to stay home and just let me know when the match is over with and you're okay, because it's a completely different world.
I bet.
It probably bothers her the 2 or 3 days after the match. If
she's having to get my food and rub my back.
When you get up and you groan and walk and you're walking gingerly until you loosen up, and I think that's when I mean, like the other night I took a cannonball. Well, we've tried, we get so many subscribers, I'll take a cannonball from Vladimir Koloff.
The people spoke, so we had our, we hit our number, so
Well, and it hurt. And my wife was laughing at the time, but then for the next couple of days, when I'm like, dang.
Make me a chiropractor appointment.
I'm going to slap the next person that tells me this stuff's fake.
That's one thing that I cannot stand, that when somebody says that, because I take it very seriously. Like, it's predetermined. But when somebody says fake, the first thing I want to say is, well, get in the ring and give me 5 minutes with you, and then you tell me if it's fake.
Mm-hmm.
My neck surgery isn't fake. Me being sore the next morning isn't fake. So you've got to be a little. I don't want to say off the head, but you've got to be a different type of person to know that you're going to go in that ring and there's a chance you're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
So when somebody says it's, and I know it's kayfabe's dead and everybody knows, but use the word fake or something.
Yeah. I mean, even that deal we did in Alabama, I was uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable about what we were doing, and I was uncomfortable around the wrestlers. Like, because to me, we in my heart of hearts, I felt like we shouldn't be showing them this.
Yeah.
And then I know that, well, my God, they can watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
So, but part of me just wants to, my small time getting to be a manager.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I came out of the back wanting to be hateful to everybody on my way out the door.
Yeah.
And I even had Akbar tell me, don't treat the crowd that way.
Yeah, like we said, it's a different time now. It's a completely different time. Back in the day, even when I started in '96, if we went out after the shows to a bar or whatever, and we got started a fight, they would be like, if you get in a fight, you better win. Whatever it costs, you better win, because if you get beat up by somebody that's not in the business, they're never going to believe you. You're never going to be believable.
Right.
It was a different world then than it is now.
Well, I think Bill Watts would say that too, right?
Yeah.
No, Bill Watts, that was one of his rules.
That was one of his rules. Like, you better, if you get into a fight, you better do your thing.
Win.
I do wanted to ask if you can tell us. Again, I saw on Facebook. I'm not a stalker, I promise.
No,
you were doing something in Nashville.
In Nashville or Atlanta?
Was it Atlanta? I thought it was Nashville.
Come on, Amy, get it right if you're going to stalk him.
Which one are you talking about? When I did it a couple of days ago?
My internet was going funky. Oh no! Say that again. My internet was doing some crazy stuff.
A couple of weeks ago, I was in a commercial.
Yes, the commercial. Was that Georgia?
It was in Atlanta.
I don't know why I thought Nashville.
So back in the day, I used to do stuff in like commercials. Like I was in a Hooters commercial one time, little things like that. I was on the Jerry Springer show years ago. And
No.
the,
Oh, okay. Okay. Tell me. Wait a minute.
Yeah, let's hear
What
this.
were you on the Jerry Springer show for?
so this was around the same time that I was doing Wildside.
Uh-huh.
Kenny Arden, the guy that kind of introduced me to Burt Prentice, he was kind of like producing for the show. It was around the same time that Jamie Dundee was on Jerry Springer, kind of all that same time. And they were just needing some guys that could fight and not really fight.
Right.
So they just booked me for the show, and my segment was Invasion of the Little People Part 2. It's on YouTube. And so I was being brought on a little person to tell me that she was cheating on me. So that was
and it is on YouTube. Okay.
yeah.
I knew that
Invasion.
Springer was really good about using independent wrestlers on the
And
shows.
you know, that makes perfect sense now that you
I
say
think my
it
friend-
out loud.
Yeah.
I want to say my friend Clint Stevens. You might know him.
Clint is from the same town that I live in now.
I've known him since he was a teenager.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Now he's a seamster now, right? For AEW.
Yeah, we call him the seamstress, Jay Clinton.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the seamstress does a great job. I mean, he's a lot of the stuff you see on television, he's done. So
Yeah. So I had just kind of started back trying to do some acting stuff too again, and I just sent some stuff out, and I had a role as a football coach in like a Netflix movie, and right at the very last minute they scrapped it. So they kept my information, and they just reached out to me, and it was a Bank of America commercial, and I was just a spectator watching the Boston Marathon, basically is what it was. But it was a pretty good little gig. It wasn't too bad. So got to get your feet wet a little bit. Got to start somewhere again. So
Yeah,
Nothing wrong with
that's
commercials.
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What did you say, Dave?
I said, there's nothing wrong with commercials,
No,
No.
that's awesome.
especially you catch one of those national ones.
yeah, and this was a good one. This was a national commercial. So I don't know how much you're going to be able to see me in it or any of that, but I'm in it somewhere.
Well, now when
So
I
the
see it,
movie-
I'll be sure to look.
Heck
Yeah.
yeah. Did they shoot the movie or that didn't even get shot?
No, so it was they actually were doing it for 3 days in Atlanta, and they changed all the road signs to like Boston. The police cars had Boston police on it. So it was like a 3-day shoot. It was unlike any kind of commercial I had ever done. It was 3 days of it. Most commercials don't take 3 days.
Right.
I think they actually were doing almost a week. I only came in for that 1 day, but there were people that were there. They had been there for 2 or 3 days, and they were booked a couple of days the next week too. So, and I don't know anything about when it's going to come out, or any of that, but yeah, it was a cool opportunity,
Nice.
That is.
Well,
We got
Adam,
Jerry
go ahead,
Springer, and now we got a commercial. We're going to be looking. We're going to have to keep our eyes
I made a
peeled.
note of that Invasion of the Little People too. I can't wait to see that.
Me too.
I've probably seen it before. I used to watch Jerry Springer all the time.
Yeah, you probably have. Yeah, and it was a pretty cool experience. They flew us to Chicago, and I ended up staying 2 days because there was like a major snowstorm, and they shut the airports down.
Oh.
And a funny story: Hector Guerrero was on there with me on the show. It was, you wouldn't think that you would meet Hector Guerrero on Jerry Springer show, but that was cool, meeting him on there.
I think I
I
want to go
bet.
back now and watch some episodes because, like I said, I don't know why, but I never really thought about, independent wrestlers, people who can fight, make it look good, but not actually, have a fight is on there. So there's
Did
no
you not know that
telling,
Jerry
Dave.
Springer? Did you not know that Jerry Springer wasn't real?
Yes. Oh, yes. I figured that out after a while, but I mean, I'm just saying, I never really thought about independent wrestling.
I had no
like a
idea.
perfect fit.
I had no idea it wasn't real until Clint told me he was going on Jerry Springer.
Yeah.
Really? Well, I mean, some of the things, you know, you have to think that, I mean, I don't know if I necessarily thought the people were not real. Like, I figured like they made up the story kind of thing. I mean, you can't have, like, why would you go on television and do all that? But I don't know.
Because it's an opportunity chance to be on television.
Well, I guess that's
it.
true.
I think there was like 5 segments on my episode, and I think there was 3 segments that were not real, but there were 2 segments that were actually people had actually called into the show to air out their dirty laundry. You know, I think first Springer they were all real, and then they kind of ran out. You know, so they started booking ideas.
Dave, you know what we need to do?
I mean, Judge Mathis takes a civil case, but then they add a lot of stuff to it, and they dig into backgrounds to try to make it even more compelling.
Well, of course, you got to get views.
And if you're going to get sued, and lose, go on one of those shows, because no matter what if you lose, they're going to pay the settlement.
Yeah.
You know what we need to do, Dave?
My daughter was on Judge Mathis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's the only reason I know that.
You know what we need to do, Dave? What, Amy? Are you hearing me at all?
What, Amy? I'm looking at you.
We need to watch that episode. He said 3 were fake, 2 are real, and we need to try to figure out which ones are the real ones and which ones are the fake ones. And then Adam can come back and tell us if we're right or not.
Yeah. Any way I can get back on the show, I'll do it.
Well, anytime you have something that you want to promote, the door's open. We do this every week, and we appreciate you coming on here. We're trying to grow this thing. Slowly but surely, we're getting there.
And one of these days, we're getting down. I mean, it'd probably be separate, but Dave, we're going to make it to prime time.
I'm hoping that I end up in the same locker room with Adam.
Yeah, y'all are always
Don't think I won't tell Josh Newell, the promoter for BIW, that he needs to book Bad Company to come in.
Heck yeah.
There we go. I'm open for bookings as well.
I don't know though. Have you seen Angel Camacho? He's 450 pounds, and I don't know if I'd want to be in the ring with that. So, but he's a bad guy.
But
that might be interesting.
And he can move. He's like a Bam Bam Bigelow out there. He can move. So he might take you by surprise. But I like both y'all. So I'll probably sit that one out. I won't root for
Well, he's not one of our tag team champions, so.
Well, I was thinking Southern Royalty, I guess is what I was thinking.
Yes.
But yeah, he's not the tag team champion, but
no.
Interesting.
Well, Adam, thank you so much for your time tonight. We've enjoyed having you on. Thanks for putting up with my senior moment.
No, I appreciate y'all giving me the opportunity to come on here, and y'all are a class act, and y'all do great. March 2nd, everybody come out and see Primetime Wrestling, Rome, Georgia, March the 2nd. Hope to see everybody there, and thank y'all again for having me. I really appreciate it.
How can everybody find you?
So I'm Adam Jacobs on Facebook. I'm on Adam Jacobs on Instagram. I've got a TikTok. Just search me up. I'm on there.
We'll do it. Are you on Twitter or X? No,
I'm not on there. I need to build my social media up a little bit, but no, I'm not on Twitter.
Okay.
Well, if you ever do, let us know.
Okay.
And we'll when we post this episode, we post the audio version. We'll tag you on all the socials.
Okay.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Jacobs.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye, Adam.
Let's see. How cool was that? I really enjoyed having him on.
He is so sweet. Like I said, when I was being the manager during my Top Guy tussle, like he was very just making sure I knew what to do and make sure I didn't get hurt, because of course the adrenaline's flowing, who knew what I was going to do? I was just like marking out. I was so excited.
Well, maybe
He
the
would
next time you
definitely.
get, next time you get an opportunity to manage Jamie, you can have a belt. You can hold a belt during the
Ooh,
match.
I like
And
it.
if you're lucky, it'll be a belt that was made by Big Time Belts.
Definitely.
Big Time Belts on Facebook. You go to the group, Big Time Belts. Muhammad Zubair is making championship dreams come true. The Manchester Player of the Week gets to hold on to this, Jim. If you're on if you're not watching, it's a beautiful belt, a 3-plater. It's got a paw in the middle of it. It says "Keep climbing." They're the Panthers. If you played fantasy football this year, how'd you like to stretch your ass around wearing a belt showing that you're the king of your fantasy football league? I know that if I had the opportunity to be on a fantasy football league that offered a prize like this, that I would be all over it. The 814 tag team grand champions wear Big Time belts. The Pennsylvania grand champion wears Big Time belts. The PCW Mid Carolina heavyweight champion and the PCW heavyweight champion,
That's my favorite belt. That's
Palmetto
pretty.
Championship Wrestling, have trusted Big Time belts. All over the South, the AWA Tag Team Champions, the AWA Championship, the SWA, the Battle Zone, BIW, all of these promotions are trusting Big Time belts, and you should too. Facebook.com, Big Time Belts, high quality, low prices, and we want to thank Big Time Belts for sponsoring our show.
Definitely very beautiful belts. I dropped my phone. I'm gonna bend down here and get it.
I made a mistake.
What'd you do?
Well, we were struggling around 260 subscribers, trying to get over the hump, and had this great idea that I let Vladimir Koloff talk me into something that if we got to 300 subscribers, that I would take his cannonball.
Mm.
Well, thank God that he was on a diet, because I can't imagine what it would have been like had he not had such a great body transformation.
That's right, because he was like over 300 pounds at one time, right?
I mean, I didn't want to do it. I flat out wanted to back out, and he wasn't having it. And so right now, if you're on YouTube, you're going to see the video. If you're listening to the audio version, of course you're not. So go to youtube.com, pwdpod.com. That'll take you to our YouTube channel, and you will be able to see stupidity at its finest. Palmwater Dave here at AWA, Ocean Springs, Mississippi. I'm in the ring. I was waiting to get the cannonball that I promised y'all, but unfortunately Koloff's already left. And I'm not going to have to do it, but I appreciate everybody subscribing. He's right behind me, isn't he?
Hi there, Dave.
Can we talk about this?
No, listen.
I mean-
I'm a nice guy. If you have $1,000 in your pocket right now, I'll walk away.
Well, I don't have that.
Well, then come on, you're getting a cannonball.
No.
You just sit right there.
No.
Head right there.
No.
I'll try not to kill you, okay?
Come on, man. I'm an elderly.
Listen, hey, from me, dos vidania.
Oh, Dave.
Be sure to subscribe to Pondwater Dave for all that great content, because Pondwater Dave needs more Koloff.
Poor Dave.
I did everything I could not to cuss.
I bet. Oh, what is that? I mean,
Terry
did
Reeve
you-
was right. I'm an elderly. Will be a t-shirt available at jumpinthepond.com. I've already asked Stephanie to make it, to give me the art, to make the artwork for it, so I could put it so I could get it up on the store.
how did you
And-
not break did you, like,
It hurt.
I know, I can only imagine. That,
It
I mean,
hurt.
like,
My
you know,
knee
him
hurt.
hurtling himself at you, and you can't move, you can't do nothing. That
Hey, I
has
ain't
to-
gonna lie, y'all. I was scared. I
really
knew when Angel chopped me, I knew what that was going to be. I
right,
had an idea. I knew it was going to suck. It was going to suck a lot.
right.
The cannonball hurt.
That's true. You've been chopped before, but you've never like had a cannonball.
And
What did it?
for 1,000 subscribers, I'm supposed to take a cannonball from not only Koloff, but Angel Camacho as well. So when we get to about 960, this show's going to end.
No kidding. I can't let that happen.
We're going to retire.
Right.
1,000, and I've got to do that. I mean, y'all are going to be doing the show after that because I don't know that I can do it.
That's what I'm saying. You gotta have to do it back to back.
I am an elderly. That's a shoot, y'all.
Thank you for taking. Hey, they don't want us to do anything.
Oh yeah, I'm taking chops. Oh yeah, for 400. For our next goal for 400, I'm gonna take a double chop from Angel Camacho. The double chop where he brings both hands down on me.
Nobody wants nobody has said, "Hey, let's chop Amy." They don't want to see that. They want to.
We all want to see that.
No, they want to see you get chopped.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do? I can't help it. I'm sorry.
So for 400, it's going to be double chops. For 500, it's going to be the Camacho bomb. For 1,000, it's going to be double cannonballs, Camacho and Koloff. Hey, and I want to thank Vladimir Koloff and AWA for having me there this past weekend. Angel Camacho had a shot at Chris Pabst for the AWA championship. It resulted in a double count out, but Camacho did Camacho things and it was bad. And I mean, it's not over yet. And Camacho's declared for the Mississippi Rumble.
Oh, cool.
The Mississippi Rumble will be March the 9th in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. And I will be on hand to referee that event as well.
Really? So the week after the Rome, Georgia primetime, which is on March 2nd, March 9th, you need to go to Mississippi and see the Mississippi Rumble.
Right.
That sounds pretty cool. You want to do a little trivia?
Looking forward to it. There's going to be 30 people in it. I've been in 2 Rumbles. I've actually been a participant in two Rumbles.
You might.
No, I won't.
You might. You may be like a Pat McAfee. You might just be standing there and they call your name. What would you do? You'd have to jump in, right?
Yeah, but the problem about jumping in is that you get thrown back out.
Well, true, but again, Pat McAfee, he helped himself out. Like he kind of got in the ring, saw what was going on, and said, I don't think I want to do this. So you have options, Dave.
Yeah, but I'm a man and a half. I'm not leaving until somebody throws me out. I mean, I don't have good sense enough. I mean, I got goodness right now. I'm telling you that I'm not going to be in the Mississippi Rumble unless they ask. I mean, I got my tights, I got my boots, I got my mask. I'm ready to go. But the problem is the Nightmare Jeremiah will be in there. And he is, and out of the 2 times that I've been in, I got thrown out by him both times.
Really?
Yes.
Him both times. I didn't know that. I didn't know it.
Second time he threw me over the top rope and spit on me.
Ew. We don't need to be spitting on people. That's gross.
Well,
Jeremiah.
Well, I just saw it on the video.
Oh.
The ring apron and the ring apron and the floor hurt like hell. So.
Oh my gosh.
But I can go over the top rope with the best of them.
I'm telling you, I got a bruise on my shoulder blade from running the ropes. I could not even imagine. I couldn't imagine any other kind of movement.
Oh yeah. Willie Buck's got a good question because I mean, everybody knows that they've been with us since day one, that your fascination with Billy Jack Haynes.
I know.
And what do you think about Billy Jack Haynes?
Well, they've been talking that both him and his wife had dementia. I mean, they're in their early 70s. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. Who knows what happened in that house? Like I hate to say that's crazy, but I mean, that's kind of his, that's kind of his motif, is just shocking.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, it's kind of scary when I'm not scared. I'm just saying it's a scary situation that you have. I mean, if say that the concussions, the dementia, these wrestlers, are very powerful people, and even in their old age, they're still pretty powerful people.
Right. Like, did he think? I mean, again, that we know.
I don't know the
nothing,
details. I just know he was charged with murdering his wife, and that's a bad,
Right.
sad situation. But
You
I
know,
mean,
and that
Vern Gagne killed somebody in the old folks' home,
right,
and
right.
he had dementia.
But you know what? I wonder. So they charged him with murder and not manslaughter.
I heard it was murder.
So that's interesting because
I wasn't
then,
prepared to talk about it. I'm just going off
right.
top of my head, but I did want to mention it because because used to, that was your,
I know. Well, it's like every
you got
time we
away,
talk,
you got away from it. You started, nonstop talking about Arn Anderson and got away from Billy Jack.
hi, Mark. I only talk of the veteran Arn Anderson when it is appropriate, and when talking about Rome, Georgia, that is appropriate.
Okay.
I think that'll be interesting to because, like, if it's manslaughter, like if it's murder,
Buddy Rogers stopped a robbery with his bare hands in his 60s.
yeah. I mean, there's no telling. You know what I'm saying? I
Hey,
think that'll be
Palm Water
interesting.
Dave took a freaking cannonball and he's 58 years old.
I really thought you were going to say Palm Water Dave took a bullet to the head and is still walking around. That's what you need to be saying when we're talking about this kind of stuff.
Well,
that's a lot better than
I think the cannonball at 58 is more impressive than the bullet at 27.
Really. Buddy Rogers stopped a robbery with his bare hands in his 60s. Dave took a cannonball. I think I'd go with
Amy. I could have died.
That's very true. You could have. No, you're right. And Vladimir, I wouldn't trust him to cannonball, anything, much less.
He said the robber was disturbing Buddy from eating his sandwich peacefully.
I think that is a completely true, and I believe every word of it. I could totally see that.
And ladies, if you're married to an elderly pro wrestler and he wants a sandwich, I suggest you make Daddy a sandwich.
But it'll be interesting to hear if they do start giving any details. If it's manslaughter, then that makes me think the dementia played a big part. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're like count one murder, then that shows some intent. You know what I mean? Like, again, what they found on the scene. But anyway, we'll kind of keep watching for that. But it was seriously.
Mark Dodds wants to know how did the cannonball go? We just watched the video of it, Mark. If you missed it,
you have to watch the playback.
But it is on our YouTube channel if you want to go watch it, and it's also on my TikTok.
Buddy Rogers has a book. I tell you what, I'm reading the book that Brian Solomon wrote about the Sheik, and it is very interesting. I don't really have a lot of reference of Michigan wrestling because, again, being from the South, I didn't really know of that. And so it's really good. I'm out in chapter 5, I think, at this point. But Brian Solomon has done a really wonderful job kind of giving some of that history to kind of show you where the Sheik came from and the type of wrestling that Detroit enjoyed, I guess you could say. But like I said, I'm really enjoying it. And maybe I'll give Buddy Rogers a book.
Billy is 70 and his girlfriend was 85.
Go Billy. I think it was his wife, right?
Might have been his girl. He said his girlfriend.
Well, maybe they were just saying, maybe it's like a common law thing or whatever. Health concerns.
I can tell you, and if you don't listen to the Filter Free podcast, you should go out of your way to listen to them. If they tell you, I mean, they got the details because they do the research. We're kind of fast and loose here. We're kind of filling it out. And I learned tonight, though, that this letting the conversation go is a good thing until you can't remember where the conversation was going.
Till you have that senior moment.
God almighty, I can't stand it when I do that.
I don't know if you have
it's getting bad. I brought another woman home the other night. Nice. Stephanie goes, "Who is she?" And I said, "Thought she was you."
Interesting. We'll talk about that off air because I need more details. But for whatever reason, they did a WCCW show today on Filter Free Podcast. Their show dropped today, and they did a WCCW. I think your name was definitely said a few times, Pondwater. If you haven't got a chance, I know. Like I said, it dropped first thing today. You may want to check that out. It was, I think it was 82 that they did.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a great year.
I'm going to listen to it, and there may be some world-class content from those boys with me as well coming up.
Interesting. Yes. But it was really great. Like I said, for whatever reason, they were especially funny today. I laughed at, I usually do, but there was just, TJ was talking about how the, people on the keyboard warriors, and how everybody had kind of got all up in arms with the whole Rock. And yes, they didn't really care for that, but TJ was just talking about how the keyboard warriors, and they were making death threats against Rock's daughter, and just how people are
it's
crazy,
horrible.
And he invoked a thought of the reason why he doesn't do that is when he was little, because you had to mail it, you had to write out a letter, and you'd have to put a stamp on it and mail it somewhere to voice your displeasure. And I don't know why that cranked me up. Anyway, sorry. Long story short.
Yeah, people that are keyboard warriors and troll, people that troll are in desperate need of being punched in the mouth. They've gotten entirely too comfortable. I'm getting to where I'm getting real bad about. I don't really want to go look in the comments.
Of here, really?
No, on X. Don't nobody say nothing bad about us.
Oh, well, that's what I was going to say. I was like, I didn't realize.
We don't have trolls yet.
Well, but because we're not famous. We're close.
Per se.
It's just really sad how people treat each other. I really think that
depends on what kind of mood Andrew's in,
but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, why would anybody, regardless, wish death on someone? Like, that is horrible. Like, I just can't even imagine. And I think that's part of it.
Well,
I can imagine, and I would never do that. But
Conrad Thompson's been getting trolled endlessly here lately. Just posted about he's going to be liquidating some of his belt collection because he's moving and he doesn't have room for it.
Right.
And he's got some really good stuff, and just some of the comments but the one thing I've learned, Drew McIntyre had said something the other night on television, and he did a lot for my faith, because he looked at CM Punk and said, "I prayed for you to get injured."
Yes.
So if you're trolling on the internet, I just want you to know that I'm praying for you. I am.
And with that, we are going to do a little trivia.
What's our trivia about?
Well, as we talked about,
that wasn't the answer, was it?
No. But what we talked about is that Adam is part of a group, and they're called Bad Company. So I thought, what better than to do some trivia on the original Bad Company, Pat Tanaka and Paul Diamond.
B-A-double-D bad.
So his name is Thomas Bork. I don't know if you knew that. Or Paul Diamond. Was born in what country? Hungary, Romania, Croatia, or Albania? Number one, did you know he was from Eastern Europe?
No.
I didn't either. I probably really thought his name was Paul Diamond. Ain't gonna lie.
Did his family invent boric acid?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Hungary because I'm kind of hungry.
Oh, well, you, along with Terry, who said B, would be wrong. He, really, it's Croatia. C.
Okay.
Isn't that crazy? So
I wouldn't have known it.
I would not either. They actually moved. No clue. His family moved to Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, when he was like younger.
Hey, did you know Winnipeg was Manitoba, Canada, without hearing a wrestling promo saying Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada?
I don't know if I would have known it was Manitoba.
Oh,
I really don't. I don't really know where I would have thought.
because the same way, Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Yes, that's true. I don't really think about them as a Providence. You know what I mean? Like I know Winnipeg and I know Calgary, but like I said, to know what the Providence is, I would probably not do super great.
Well,
Manitoba,
Willie Buck got it right. See Croatia.
Very good. All right, next question. Before Paul Diamond became a professional wrestler, he played what sport professionally? I'll spit it out. Was it soccer, football, golf, or baseball?
I'm going with soccer because I mean, if he's from Croatia, that's all that people outside of America play is soccer.
Yes, it's a Providence, right? What is it called? Filter Free Podcast. They're not states. Is it not a Providence? Are you making fun of my accent? I think he is. No, Providence. Oh, Jesus. It's a province. You're right. I called it wrong. But the thought was what I was meaning. So
I would have called it Providence too.
Providence. Okay. Yes, it is soccer. So going back to that right answer. And he actually had a full scholarship to Old Dominion in Norfolk, Virginia, to play soccer. And he ended up playing, his dad played soccer. And he ended up playing professionally before he got into it. But yeah, he got a full ride to school playing soccer. All right, next question.
That question might be harder in a few years because I learned, if I didn't learn anything else from watching the Super Bowl Sunday night, is I learned that kids in Ghana are learning how to play football.
That was a cute little commercial.
It wasn't a bad commercial at all.
No.
I like the part where he reached out and touched the guy. Goes, I just wanted to make sure you were real.
I know, that was so cute.
It didn't suck.
No. Where did Pat Tanaka have his first match back in 1984? Was it CWA, AWA, Big Time Wrestling, which is in California, and New Japan Pro Wrestling?
I'm going to say, is that CWA the one in Europe, or is that CWA Continental Wrestling Association?
That's Continental. Sorry.
I'm going to go Big Time Wrestling.
We got some B's in there. It was actually D, New Japan.
Oh, really?
Well,
never would have
Pat
got
Tanaka's father is, I hope I don't butcher this, Duke
Kiyomuka.
Yes.
No shit.
Yes, that is Pat
I was not
Tanaka.
aware of that.
Yes. And as you know, talking about some degrees of separation, Duke won the NWA World Tag Team titles belts with Fritz Von Erich.
He also feuded with Fritz, and they were battles of the claw.
Really?
My grandmother used to talk about Duke Kiyomuka all the time when she'd go to the sportatorium with my grandfather.
Interesting. Yes, he's held up. I mean, he really did.
I've got an old program. Fritz versus Duke Kiyomuka, Battle of the Claws.
Well, I'm glad I taught you something. That
you did. I had no idea that was Duke Kiyomuka's kid.
And so he trained. So that's where
Lance Peterson said Duke belongs on Texas Mount Rushmore. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, because
Duke
really
Kiyomuka was a big damn deal.
Yes.
And Willie Buck's on fire. Willie Buck is on fire answering these questions tonight.
Kidding. He must be a Bad Company connoisseur. He likes the Bad Company.
Who's that in your profile picture with you, Willie?
I'm sure he'll show us.
All right. Next question.
Next question. Who did Bad Company defeat to win the AWA World Tag Team titles on March 19th, 1988?
Man,
Was it Tom Zink, Greg Gagne? Was it the Olympians? Was it the Midnight Rockers? Or was it Chavo and Mondo Guerrero?
I believe it was the Midnight Rockers because I think they were on their way to WWE for their first time.
And as everybody in the chat is saying, you are correct. It was the Midnight Rockers. Next question. Who defeated Bad Company to win the AWA World Tag Team titles after Bad Company held the titles for just over 1 year?
Whoops.
Was it
I'm going to say
Tom Zink, Greg Gagne? Was it the Olympians? Was it the Midnight Rockers? Or was it Chavo and Mando Guerrero?
it's Mondo.
Mondo, okay.
Yeah, the three brothers at that time were Chavo, Mondo, and Hector.
Well, now Filter Freeze got me all nervous. Said Providence instead of Province, so I'm scared now what I'm going to say.
Man, I'm going to be influenced by Lance Peterson here and go with Chavo and Mondo, but I don't remember Chavo and Mondo holding the tag team belts. I want to say, I don't remember Tom Zink being a partner with Greg Gagne either, and Ken Patera was doing hard time. I'm going Tom Zink and Greg Gagne.
Oh. It was actually the Olympians. So Ken Patera had not he had not have hard time. He was not serving time yet.
I did not know that I don't remember them winning the tag team titles.
They did. They took them off of they took them off Bad Company.
Well, all right.
They sure did. I don't know how long they held them for. I did not look. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting. And Tom Zink and Greg Gagne, they were champions also. So I mean, like they were a tag team. So that's.
See, I remember Greg Gagne and Jumping Jim Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
Then I remember Ken Patera and Mr. Saito.
Yes, that's the one that he got in trouble with at the McDonald's. Saito. All righty. This is fill in the blank. Who was Bad Company's manager in AWA? And I'm giving you the hint. It was a male manager. Very good. Very good. It was the Diamond Dallas Page. For you all that are listening to us, Dave gave the diamond cutter sign. So,
well, I was going to give the guys in the chat a chance to answer it.
But they could see you do that too.
That's what Diamond Dallas Page is go B-A-double-D bad.
That's right.
You got to go back and find video of him. He had the most glorious mullet.
Oh yes,
big
and he had the diamond dog.
sunglasses.
It wasn't. I mean, that's been a thing.
Yeah.
I love that prison belt. I love that AWA. I like the look of it. Filter Free said that they almost got those AWA tag titles. Interesting.
Yeah,
and he has the prison
the
belt.
AWA tag belts. They're done in the style of they were really done in the style of the NWA World Television belt, like Arn Anderson held.
Who? The veteran Arn Anderson? Interesting.
Yes.
Did not know that.
But that AWA. My favorite version of the AWA tag belts are the ones from the 70s that Reggie Parks made, the first ones that Reggie Parks made.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just an old trophy style, like I'd have to show you better than I could tell you, but the Road Warriors had them. It was the kind that was silver, had a little medallion in the middle of it, and just said world. I mean, the font was just basic belt, but it was kind of stacked plates, and it was so basic. It's just so basic, but so beautiful.
Cool. I'll have to check that out. And the last question. All right. What name did Bad Company take when entering into the WWF/E, whatever you want to call them? They could not go by Bad Company because you know they don't like doing that.
Yeah. I want to see if anybody will have it. Lance Peterson said Dr. D and Hector held the AWA belts. No Mondo.
Oh, interesting.
I know the answer to this. I'm waiting to see if somebody's going to type it in over there. But for the sake of time, was it the Orient Express?
It was the Orient Express. Now, when it first,
T-Weave came in with it. So T-Weave came in with Orient Express, and he did it quick enough that I know that he didn't type it that fast after he heard me say it. So
because we keep score, right? No.
Yeah.
But whenever
I got my eye on the TNA. I was gonna say the first and 10 podcast, the TNA top 10.
Yes, that's really good, especially because they're doing top 10 lists. You know, that's kind of fun.
Are they doing top 10 lists from the home office in the Providence of Manitoba?
Yes, exactly. Make you think. When they came in as Orient Express, it was just Pat Tanaka. Paul Diamond was doing the other thing. And someone mentioned it earlier when the Max Moon character did not work out for Conan, right?
Right.
Paul Diamond stepped in and he was Max Moon for a bit. So it was Sato and Pat Tanaka. And then
they were managed by Fuji, weren't they?
Yes. And then Sato ended up taking an office job with WWF doing things for Japan. And so that kind of left Pat Tanaka without a partner. And so him and Paul Diamond they got back together, but Paul Diamond had to wrestle under a mask because he was going by the name Kato and obviously not Asian. So he wrestled under a mask. So that's just a little history. Because like I said, I did not realize that they had quite the career in AWA. They started out in CWA together in Continental, and both of them held belts with Jeff Jarrett. Imagine that. And so I thought this was a good one. I did not know a lot about them and knew of them. And so that was kind of cool to get some information. Hi, friends of the Squared Circle.
Amy, we want to talk about WrestleMania Kickoff before we wrap up tonight?
Sure.
Did you watch it?
I saw parts of it. I didn't watch it live because I was somewhere. I was doing something because you and I were talking. What was I?
Yeah.
Was with my sister.
Oh, that's right. Because I wanted to go live.
Yes. I was with my daughter Olivia.
Oh, we already did a whole show on it. If you want to know what we thought about WrestleMania Kickoff, it's in the archives at pwdpod.com.
Yes, you and Mike did it.
It'd be redundant if I would have talked about it again, but I would like to talk about Sting's last match and what transpired on AEW last week. I mean, y'all know that I'm not a fan of the Young Bucks. They don't hit for me.
Right.
But when the Young Bucks hit the ring and attacked Sting and Darby in white suits, that was tongue in cheek at Cornette because Darby bled a gusher and got it all over the suits. They attacked Sting and Darby and beat up Sting's kids. Sting's sons were there. I still don't want to see the Young Bucks versus Sting and Darby. But, I mean, I would rather – there are much better – I mean, for me, because I'm an old man. But I will admit that it was a good angle. It was a good angle. It's got a little heat to it. And
you know what, though?
I want Sting to leave. I want Sting to retire undefeated.
See, this is my problem now that they have the titles. Like, what are we going to do with that? Like, are they going to beat them and then the Young Bucks are going to get the titles? How can he retire with the belt? Like, I kind of...
they vacate them. They vacate them and have a tournament. Tony Khan loves tournaments.
Well, that's true.
He do love his tournaments.
Well, I guess so. That's interesting.
Filter Free
What?
Podcast has an interesting take that it should be Sting.
I don't know if he meant to type that.
Yeah, Darby
Sting,
versus House
somebody.
of Black.
That'd be cool. I like.
Oh, I
House
thought
of
you.
Black.
I thought the Bucks would be in there too for a 3-way, and I want to see
That-
Sting leave with his hand raised.
Exactly.
He
Exactly.
doesn't need to lose that match, and damn sure don't need to lose to Young Bucks.
No, I do
And I
not.
like that they're the tag champions because now I can get a Sting nameplate for my tag team belt. So,
Definitely. But I'm
but-
with you. I'm interested.
but I mean,
in how
it
this
sounded
is.
like I gave him a backhanded compliment, but I really liked it. When I saw it, it got my attention. They came in with white baseball bats
Mhm.
because if they'd have just came in and beat them up, I wouldn't have bought into it. Well, except Darby. They could take Darby probably, but I was really trying to give him a compliment, but I'd have totally crapped all over it.
Well, I do like the arrogant attitudes that they have. I think it makes them. I mean, people don't like them, and I think that I think people. It gives them a good reason not to like them. And then they're beating on Darby and Sting, who are definitely fan
Yeah.
favorites. And so, and doing it in a way of, like you said, just the bats and just bringing his sons in. One of his sons played for UK. Just a little trivia there for you. Football. And
I don't think I would have beat the kids up. I'm going to tell you why. Because, I mean, the kids could take them.
well, but they were kind of sucker. I mean, but I think that was okay because you're not expecting the kids are in there. You're not really expecting the kids to get hit. I mean, I think it was probably okay. I mean, they couldn't just
Yeah.
beat
I don't
up,
think it was needed, but
but they couldn't leave them in the ring beating on Sting, and like they had to do something with them.
hey, I got cannonball the other night and didn't nobody lift a finger to get there and help me.
Well, but nobody was in the ring already. The kids
Okay.
were in the ring before.
Okay. I got you.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. Like if the kids hadn't been there, it'd be different. But I mean, if
Well,
your
it
dad
didn't sound
was
like
in-
it. It didn't sound like it, but I liked it. Did you see Raw Monday night?
I saw parts of it.
Did
I
you see the
stopped
part where
watching
Seth
some of it.
offered to have Cody's back?
I did see that be his shield. I don't think I trust
Did you
Seth,
not
but-
immediately think that Seth's going to turn on Cody and keep him from winning the title because
That's-
his title wasn't good enough for him?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I do not trust Seth at all. So I think it'll be interesting to see. I am absolutely cannot wait for the Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania.
Lance Peterson's got some trivia about one of Sting's kids. One of the boys was the Apple salesman at the Best Buy in Mesquite, Texas, across from Town East Mall.
Really?
You'd have to be from Dallas to know that, but yeah, Sting and Lex Luger used to own a gym together, but they also had businesses in Dallas. Sting lived in
Oh.
Dallas. Sting may still live in Dallas.
So are you saying Sting owned the Best Buy?
No,
Oh.
Sting's son worked at Best Buy.
Oh, we're just saying he just worked there.
I saw Sting and Luger one time at Copeland's of New Orleans in Addison having dinner.
Did you go up there? I'm your
I left
waiter.
him. I completely left him alone.
Oh, I don't know if I would.
I'd been
Thank you.
drinking. It was probably a good idea to not be stupid.
Good idea that you drinking and going up to Sting and Luger probably would probably be best. I get you. We've got some great shows coming up. I know. I felt tonight. Adam Jacobs. I was really happy to have him on.
He's such a good guy. I want to have him again.
Yes, we're going to. We are totally.
I'd
we are
love
totally
to have him
watching.
again.
We are
Maybe
watching. his
maybe
Jerry
we get him and
Springer
David Young
episode.
both to come on.
Do what?
I'd like to get him and David Young both to come on.
Yes, but we seriously
Those-
have got to watch the Jerry Springer, and we got
Oh,
to
I'm
figure out
on it.
which episode is. We can do that as a bonus, maybe.
Let's find it and do it as bonus content.
And then bring him on and say, okay, these are our guesses for the real and the fake. That's gonna be fun. But we have
Me,
some, we have a lot of great guests coming up in February, March. A lot of talent that you're going to be hearing lots and lots about, right?
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you.
Are you having a senior moment?
Now I'm reading.
Uh-oh, is it my internet?
No, we're good.
Okay.
I can't give you the dates, but we're going to have from Metroplex Wrestling, we're going to have Aaron Eagle on.
Yes.
Aaron Eagle was actually, he had started wrestling before I became a referee. Love Aaron Eagle.
Caleb Conley, right? Is that a person?
Caleb Conley. We're still scheduled. We're going to schedule him. We're going to have Rob Love's coming up. Bam Bam Malone's coming up. And
fingers crossed for Miranda Gordy.
I hadn't asked her yet, so
that's what I said. Fingers crossed.
That's the wish list. Miranda Gordy. And then we're also going to have Tatum Manning on from Metroplex Wrestling.
Yes. Oh, cool.
Tatum Manning, and that's going to be that for sure is going to be February 27th. The week after that, we're going to have Aaron Eagle.
Right.
So,
and I think we kind of talked about doing something about the Elimination Chamber coming up.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff planned for y'all.
We do. We have a lot of.
I had a good time. I had a really good time the other night popping on and doing some bonus content after the kickoff, especially since I was super excited about it. And we're going to do more of that. I was hoping to do something for WrestleMania, but it turns out I'm booked on that Saturday to referee.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Well, but you know what? Honestly, we might need to have like time to kind of take it all in, because there's going to be ungodly amount of stuff happening at wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Those 2 days. So that'd be okay.
But my point was I'm working. I don't know. I'm not even going to watch it in real time. On that one.
We'll have to do like we did at Royal Rumble. We just won't say nothing. Speaking of Royal Rumble, I do want to give a shout out to my friends, the Kickout Crew. I won the women's Royal Rumble, and I picked number 3, and that was Bailey, and she did win. And they gave me this great shirt, which says Kickout Crew. I really do appreciate it. So I want to give them a shout out.
Good guys over on the Kickout Crew.
Definitely.
For all of your Talking Wrestling with Pondwater Dave merch, go to jumpinthepond.com, promo code Pondwater to save 15%. I'm an elderly, will be a shirt. Definitely going to be a shirt. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at pwdpod.com. We're sitting at 321. We're on our quest to 400. We're on our march to 1,000.
That's right. That's right.
Tell a friend. Click the subscribe button. It don't cost anything.
Mm-mm.
And don't unsubscribe after you subscribe. Quit doing that. I'm begging you. Help us out. Throw us a freaking bone.
Because hopefully you enjoy the content. I'm going to just swear. Leave me alone, TJ.
We're supposed to give gifts when people win stuff.
But anyway.
Oh, goodness.
I think
please subscribe. Y'all can like and comment, share. That's just overachieving if y'all do all that for us. But at the very least, subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. Anybody, please subscribe. And I'll keep doing stupid stuff until we get 1,000.
I think that works.
And then once we got and then when we start getting some advertisers and a budget, we'll start giving some stuff away.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
I've been thinking that we ought to do something, one trivia question a week, that we actually bring somebody in, put them on the spot to answer a question.
Ooh.
Give them a little swag from the jumpinthepond.com, Talking Wrestling with Pond Water Dave store.
I
I'm
like
kicking
it.
that around.
I like that. We'll have to, yeah. We 2024 is going to be amazing, right?
Yes. For the absent Justin Davis, for the absent Teppy, from the First Lady of the Sid Vicious fan club, Miss Amy Vaughn,
Hello.
I'm Palm Water Dave, and we are out of here.